Ladies, let me tell you something. And I need you to sit down for this one. Because what I'm about to share with you today, nobody had the courage to sit you down and tell you. Not your mama, not your auntie, not your girlfriends over brunch. But I'm going to tell you because I love you too much to let you keep making the same two mistakes that are quietly costing you the love, the respect, and the peace you deserve. There are two things, just two, that a wise woman never tells a man. Not because she's playing games, not because she's being fake, not because she's hiding who she is, but because she understands something most women learn far too late. She understands that a man does not value what he easily accesses. She understands that a man builds his devotion around what he has to earn, protect, and prove himself worthy of. And when you hand him certain truths too soon, too freely, too openly, you are not being authentic, sister. You are handing him the keys to a kingdom he hasn't even knocked on the door of yet. And I know right now some of you are already getting defensive. Some of you are already saying, but Steve, I believe in being open. I believe in honesty. I believe a real man can handle everything about me. And baby, I hear you. I do. But I need you to listen to me carefully because there is a difference between honesty and self-exposure. There is a difference between vulnerability and vulnerability spilled onto a man who has not yet earned it. There is a difference between being an open book and being an open wound. Have you ever been sitting there 3 months into something that felt like it could be real? Wondering why he suddenly went cold? Wondering why the man who is texting you good morning every single day suddenly acts like your name is just another notification he'll get to when he feels like it. Wondering why the passion that felt so real in month 1 has curdled into something distant and confused by month 4. Sister, I'm telling you, in 9 out of 10 of these situations, the answer traces back to one of these two things you told him, one of these two truths you handed over before he had earned the right to hold it. So today, we're going to break this down slowly, carefully, with love. I'm going to tell you what those two things are. I'm going to tell you why they matter so much to a man's mind. I'm going to tell you what happens inside him the moment you cross that line. And I'm going to tell you exactly what to say, what to hold back, and how to carry yourself so that the next man who tries to love you does it right from the very beginning. Now, sit tight, get your tea, get your notebook if you need to, because this one right here is going to change the way you show up in love forever. See, here's what men are wired to do. And I say this as a man who has been on both sides, the one who got it wrong and the one who finally got it right. A man is wired to pursue. A man is wired to hunt. A man is wired to prove himself worthy of the woman he wants. That is not old-fashioned nonsense. That is not patriarchy. That is not something we can wish away because we want it to be different. That is the design. That is the blueprint. That is how a man's mind moves toward long-term devotion. And here's the part that hurts, sister. When you take the hunt away from him, you don't make him love you more. You make him lose respect for the very thing he was chasing. Because a man values what he has to work for. A man protects what costs him something. A man commits to what he had to prove himself worthy of. And when you hand him everything, your whole heart, your whole story, your whole desperation, your whole plan for the future, before he has even shown you who he really is, you have taken the hunt away from him. And in his mind, though he may not say it out loud, though he may not even understand it himself, something quietly shifts. He starts to relax. Then he starts to coast. Then he starts to wander because the woman he thought he had to earn turned out to be a woman he already owned. Now let me tell you about a woman I know. Let's call her Rachel. Rachel is beautiful. Rachel is smart. Rachel has a good job, her own place, her own car, her own life, And Rachel met a man last spring who seemed like the answer to a prayer she'd been whispering for 3 years. He was attentive. He was consistent. He was pursuing her the way a man is supposed to pursue. And for the first 6 weeks, Rachel felt like she was finally living the love story she'd been waiting for. But then Rachel did what a lot of good women do. She got scared. She got scared that this thing might slip away. She got scared that if she didn't lock it down, if she didn't show him how deep she already felt, he might drift towards someone else. So, one night over dinner, she told him she was already falling in love with him. She told him she could already see them married. She told him she'd already imagined what their kids would look like. She told him she'd been hurt so many times before, and she was terrified of being hurt again, and she needed him to promise her he wouldn't be like the others. Sister, I need you to hear me on this. Rachel did not do anything evil. Rachel did not do anything shameful. Rachel spoke from her heart. But Rachel made a mistake that thousands of good women make every single day. And within 2 weeks, the man who was texting her every morning was texting her every other day. Within a month, he was making excuses. Within 2 months, he was gone. And Rachel sat on her couch crying, wondering what she did wrong, wondering if she was too much, wondering if there was something broken inside her that men could smell from a mile away. Baby, there is nothing broken inside you. There is nothing broken inside Rachel. But there is a truth about the male mind that no one bothered to teach either of you. And that truth is this. A man's devotion is built in stages. And when you skip stages, you don't accelerate his love. You short-circuit it. You blow the fuse. You take a slow-burning fire and dump gasoline on it, and instead of a bonfire, you get smoke and ash. So, what are these two things, Steve? What are these two things a wise woman never tells a man? Let me break it down for you now, slowly, piece by piece, because I want you to understand just what they are, but why they matter, and what happens inside a man's mind the moment you cross the line. The first thing a wise woman never tells a man too soon is the full depth of her feelings for him. Now, hold on. Don't get mad at me yet. I did not say lie. I did not say pretend. I did not say be cold. I said too soon. I said the full depth. There is a world of difference between letting a man see that you enjoy him, that you're drawn to him, that you're interested in where this could go, and dumping the entire ocean of your emotional investment on his lap before he has even proven he can swim. See, here's what happens inside his mind when you tell him too early, too intensely, too completely how deeply you already feel. Something in him relaxes. Something in him exhales. Something in him thinks, oh, she's already there. She's already mine. I don't have to earn this. I don't have to fight for this. I don't have to prove myself. And the moment a man stops feeling like he has to prove himself, sister, the pursuit dies. Not because he's evil, not because he doesn't like you, but because the very fuel that was driving him toward you has been taken out of the tank. Now, hear me on this. I am not telling you to be cold. I am not telling you to play games. I am not telling you to pretend you don't feel what you feel. What I am telling you is this. Let him see the fire in the fireplace. Do not hand him the whole forest and pour lighter fluid on it. Let him earn each layer. Let him work for each revelation. Let him wonder at every stage whether he is doing enough to keep you interested. Because a man who has to keep wondering is a man who stays engaged. A man who has to keep working is a man who stays devoted. A man who has to keep proving himself is a man who does not wander. And here's the beautiful part, ladies. This is not manipulation. This is not deception. This is not a game. This is simply the natural rhythm of how a man's heart moves toward commitment. You are not withholding your love. You are pacing your love. You are letting it unfold at the speed that matches his effort. And when his effort is real, when his consistency is real, when his devotion is real, then and only then do you open more of yourself to him. That is not cold. That is wisdom. That is self-respect. That is the way a queen governs her own heart. Let me give you a picture. Imagine you have a beautiful garden, the most beautiful garden anyone has ever seen, full of flowers, full of fruit, full of colors and scents you can't even describe. Now, would you tear down the gate on the first day a man walked by? Would you say, "Come on in, take whatever you want, stay as long as you like. You don't have to prove anything to me"? No, sister, you would not. You would open the gate a little. Let him see the roses. See how he behaves. See if he waters what he sees. See if he tends what he touches. And only when he has shown you through his consistent actions that he knows how to treat a garden, do you let him further in. That garden is your heart. That garden is your soul. The garden is the depth of what you feel. And a wise woman does not tear down the gate for a man who has not yet proven he knows how to water what grows there. Now let me tell you the second thing. The second thing a wise woman never tells a man is the full weight of her past pain, her past wounds, her past betrayals, and her deepest insecurities. Not in the early stages. Not before he has proven himself. Not while he is still deciding what you are to him. And I know some of you are already saying, "But Steve, isn't that being fake? Isn't that hiding who I am?" Snorts. Doesn't he need to know my baggage so he can decide if he can handle me? Baby, I hear you. And I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to say, because I am not telling you to hide your story forever. I am telling you to protect your story until the man in front of you has earned the right to hear it. There is a difference between a witness and a stranger. There is a difference between a partner and a passerby. There is a difference between a man who has walked with you long enough to hold your wounds with reverence and a man who is still quietly deciding whether you are worth his time. When you hand a man your deepest wounds too early, several things happen inside him, and none of them are good. First, he starts to see you not as the woman he is pursuing, but as the woman he has to fix. And a man in the early stages is not looking for someone to fix. He is looking for someone to enjoy, someone to be inspired by, someone to feel bigger, stronger, better around. When you shift the dynamic from "I am the prize he is trying to win" to "I am the project he is trying to solve," you have collapsed the entire architecture of the pursuit. Second, he starts to feel the emotional weight of your past before he has earned the emotional right to carry it. He starts to feel like every decision he makes is going to be measured against the man before him. He starts to feel like he is walking on eggshells around wounds he did not cause. And a man who feels like he is being punished for someone else's crimes will not stay. Not because he is weak, not because he is a coward, but because he did not sign up to pay for a debt he did not owe. Third, and this is the one that hurts the most, sister. So I want you to brace yourself. He starts to file away every wound you shared as a piece of information he might use later. Now, not every man does this. The good ones don't. But you do not know yet in the early stages which one is standing in front of you. And when you hand a not yet proven man the map of your soft spots, you have handed him, in the worst case scenario, the very weapons he can use to hurt you later. Let me tell you about another woman I know. Let's call her Tasha. Tasha met a man online. Sweet man, or so it seemed. Charming, attentive, said all the right things. 2 weeks in, Tasha, wanting to be transparent, wanting to be real, wanting to show him she trusted him, told him about the abuse she suffered as a child. Told him about the ex who cheated on her with her cousin. Told him about the miscarriage she still cried about at night. Told him about the depression she'd fought for years. She poured it all out over a bottle of wine, and he held her hand, and he told her he understood, and he told her he'd never hurt her. 6 months later, Tasha and this man got into a fight, a stupid fight about something small. And in the middle of that fight, In the middle of the anger, that man reached into his memory and pulled out every single wound Tasha had shared with him. Everyone. And he threw them at her like knives. No wonder you've been through so much. No wonder that ex left you. No wonder you have issues. No wonder no one has been able to love you. Sister, that man used Tasha's own wounds as weapons against her. Not because Tasha did anything wrong by having those wounds, but because she gave them to a man who had not yet proven he would treat them like the sacred things they were. And once you give a man that kind of information, you can never take it back. Now, I want you to hear something even deeper, because I don't want you walking away from this thinking I'm telling you to be dishonest. I'm not. What I am telling you is that intimacy is a staircase, not an elevator. Every step earns the next. Every step of trust earned by him allows the next step of vulnerability offered by you. And when you skip steps, when you take the elevator straight to the top floor of your soul on the first date, the second week, the second month, you are not being brave. You are being reckless with the most valuable thing you own. Your story is holy. Your wounds are holy. Your fears are holy. And holy things are not handed to strangers. Holy things are revealed slowly, carefully to those who have proven they can kneel at the altar of what you have been through. Now, let me talk about what a wise woman does instead, because I don't want to just tell you what not to do. I want to tell you what to do. I want to give you the exact power move that changes everything. A wise woman in the early stages lets a man reveal himself first. She asks questions. She listens. She observes. She notices what he does more than what he says. She watches how he treats waiters. She watches how he talks about his mother. She watches how he handles small disappointments. She watches how he behaves when she is not looking. Because a man will tell you who he is, sister, if you give him enough time and enough silence to reveal it. The problem is, most women fill the silence with their own story before the man has had a chance to tell his. A wise woman also lets her enthusiasm show in measured, beautiful doses. She smiles. She laughs. She lets him see that she enjoys his company. She lets him see that he is having an effect on her. But she does not spill the ocean. She lets him see the wave, not the whole tide. She lets him see the flame, not the whole furnace. And when he leaves her presence, he does not leave thinking, I've got her. He leaves thinking, I want more of her, but I don't quite have her yet. I have to earn her. And that, ladies, is the space in his mind where devotion is born. Not in certainty, in curiosity, not in comfort, in pursuit, not in guarantee. In the beautiful magnetic tension of a woman, he wants but has clear's throat, not yet fully won. Now, let me speak to something. I know some of you are thinking, but Steve, if I have to be so careful about what I tell him, doesn't that mean he doesn't really love me? Doesn't a man who really loves me want to know everything about me right away? Baby, listen. A man who really loves you will want to know everything about you eventually. But love does not begin with everything. Love begins with something. Love builds. Love earns. Love layers itself one truth at a time, one act of care at a time, one proven moment at a time. And a man who demands your whole story on a second date. A man who pressures you to reveal your deepest wounds before he has revealed anything of his own soul. A man who wants access to all of you before he has earned any of you. That man is not loving you, sister. That man is scouting you. That man is auditioning you. That man is gathering data. And the difference between a man who loves you and a man who is scouting you is the same difference as between a farmer and a hunter. The farmer plants and tins and waters and waits. The hunter takes what he can when he can and moves on to the next. You are not prey, sister. You are not a data set. You are not a case study. You are a woman with a whole world inside of you. And that world is not for the eyes of every man who happens to smile in your direction. Now let me deepen this, because I want you to understand not just the rule, but the psychology behind the rule. And I want you to understand what happens on a man's side when you carry yourself with this kind of wisdom. When a man senses that you have depth he has not yet accessed, he becomes fascinated by you. When a man senses that there are chapters of your story he has not yet earned the right to read, he becomes obsessed with earning them. When a man feels that your love is real but not yet fully surrendered, he leans in. He shows up. He proves himself. He becomes the best version of himself because he knows the woman in front of him will only unlock her deepest layers when he has demonstrated he can be trusted with them. But when a man senses that there is nothing left to discover because you told him everything on date 3, something in him goes quiet. Not because you did anything wrong, but because the very thing that keeps a man engaged, which is the beautiful mystery of a woman still being revealed, has been taken from him. And a man without mystery to pursue is a man without motivation to work. I want you to think about the last time you truly, deeply wanted something. Something you had to work for. Something you couldn't just walk into a store and buy. Snorts. Something that required patience and effort and time. Do you remember how sweet it felt when you finally got it? Do you remember how you cherished it? Do you remember how you protected it because you knew how much it had cost you? Now think about the last time something was handed to you for free, without effort, without waiting, without earning. Do you remember how quickly you took it for granted? Do you remember how easily you set it aside? Do you remember how it never quite felt as valuable as the thing you had to fight for? Sister, a man's heart works the same way. And this is not a flaw in men. This is the design of desire. This is the architecture of longing. This is the truth beneath every romance novel ever written, every love song ever sung, every wedding story ever told. What we fight for, we cherish. What is handed to us, we tend to forget the weight of. And when you understand this, you stop feeling like being wise about what you reveal is somehow a betrayal of who you are. You start to see that pacing your revelations is one of the most loving things you can do for him, for you, and for the love you are trying to build. Now, let me tell you about a third woman. Let's call her Denise. Denise is the woman who got it right. Denise is the woman who, after years of getting it wrong, finally understood these two truths. And I want to tell you her story so you can see what wisdom looks like in real life. Denise met a man at her cousin's wedding. He was tall, handsome, well-dressed, and he approached her with respect. They danced, they talked. He asked for her number. He called her 3 days later, not to text, but to call like a man used to do. And they went on their first date. Now, on that first date, Denise did something different, something she'd never done before. She did not tell him she was already imagining their future. She did not tell him about the 3 exes who had broken her heart. She did not tell him about her fears. She did not tell him about her deepest longings. Instead, she asked him questions. She listened. She laughed. She let him talk about himself. And when he asked her about herself, she gave him beautiful, warm, honest answers. But she did not empty the ocean. She told him what she did for work. She told him she loved her family. She told him she loved to travel. She told him she was passionate about her faith. She let him see her light. She let him hear her laugh. But she did not hand him her wounds. Not yet. Not until he had earned them. And do you know what happened, ladies? That man, over the next 6 months, pursued Denise with more intensity than she had ever experienced. He planned dates. He introduced her to his family. He talked about the future, but only after she had allowed him the space to want a future with her. And piece by piece, layer by layer, as he proved himself worthy, Denise opened more of herself to him. Her past pain, when it came out slowly. In moments she felt safe. Well, smooth in moments where he had already shown he could hold it with reverence. Her deepest feelings when she shared them came out at a pace that matched his own revelation. 2 years later, Denise is married. Not to a perfect man, because there are no perfect men, but to a man who cherishes her, who protects her, who works to be worthy of her every single day. Because from the beginning, she taught him that access to her was earned, not assumed. And he built his devotion around what he had to earn. Now, sister, I know what some of you are thinking. Some of you are thinking, Steve, that sounds beautiful, but I don't have that kind of self-control. I feel what I feel, and I want to say it. Baby, I understand. I do, but I want you to hear this. Self-control in the early stages of a relationship is not the opposite of love. Self-control in the early stages of a relationship is the foundation of love. Because the love that lasts is the love that was built on wisdom. And wisdom, sister, is knowing when to speak, when to hold, and when to let the man in front of you reveal what he is truly made of. Now, let's go deeper. Let's talk about what happens inside a man's mind. The specific moment-by-moment mechanism when a woman handles this the wise way versus the reckless way, because I want you to see this. I want you to see the film reel of what's happening in his head so you never have to guess again. Picture 2 women, same day, same city, same age, same beauty, both go on a first date with a good man. Woman 1 is what I call the ocean spiller. Woman 2 is what I call the deep well. The ocean spiller shows up to the date already emotionally invested in what this could be. She's been thinking about him all week. She's been telling her girlfriends about him. She's already imagined the wedding. And when she sits down across from him, she can't hide it. She spills. She tells him about her exes. She tells him about her hopes. She tells him she's been praying for a man like him. She tells him she feels like this is destined, and she does it all with a beautiful, warm, open heart. Now, inside his mind, several things happen. At first, he's flattered. Any man would be. But then, subtly, quietly, without him even realizing it, his brain starts to categorize her. He starts to think, oh, she's already here. She's already invested. I don't need to worry about losing her. And the moment that thought enters his mind, sister, something in him begins to relax. Not in a good way. In a way that means the pursuit is over. In a way that means the effort will drop. In a way that means over the next few weeks and months, he will do less and less and less because he knows the ground is secure. Now picture the deep well. She also feels something for him. She also is drawn to him. She also has hopes. But she carries her hopes like a candle, not a bonfire. She sits down across from him. She smiles. She's warm. She's engaged. She asks him questions. She listens. She laughs. She lets him see that she's enjoying him. But she does not spill. She does not empty the well. She does not hand him the map of her soul on the first evening. And inside his mind, something very different happens. He leaves the date thinking, wow, there's something about her. I want to see her again. I don't quite have her yet. I don't quite know what she thinks of me. I need to earn her. And that thought, sister, that thought right there is the engine of a man's devotion. That thought is what makes him call the next day instead of waiting 3. That thought is what makes him plan the next date carefully instead of texting you up at midnight. That thought is what makes him introduce you to his people because he is proud of what he is building toward, not casual about what he already has. Do you see the difference? Do you see how the same woman with the same feelings gets radically different outcomes based on how she paces the revelation of those feelings? This is not manipulation, sister. This is wisdom. This is the difference between throwing your love away and investing your love. This is the difference between spilling the ocean and being the deep well he wants to keep drawing from. Now, I want to address something else because I know some of you are going to say, Steve, but what about my past? Doesn't he deserve to know about my past? Isn't that being deceitful if I don't tell him? Baby, no, it is not deceitful to protect your story until it is safe. It is not deceitful to reveal yourself in stages. It is not deceitful to let intimacy earn intimacy. Deceit would be lying about your past. Deceit would be pretending you don't have wounds. Deceit would be saying you have no history when you do. That is not what I am asking you to do. I am asking you to do something different. I am asking you to hold your story like the treasure it is and to only open the treasure chest when the man in front of you has earned the key. Now, here's where most women mess up. And I want you to pay attention to this because this is the pattern that plays out in millions of relationships every single year. A woman meets a man. She likes him. She wants him to know she likes him. She is terrified that if she doesn't tell him everything, he will misunderstand her or think she's cold or lose interest. So out of fear, out of scarcity, out of a deep insecurity that whispers, he might leave, she rushes to reveal everything. She thinks she is being loving. She thinks she is being brave. She thinks she is being real. But what she is actually doing, sister, is trying to secure something that has not yet earned securing. She is trying to lock down a man who has not yet demonstrated he deserves the lock or the key. And here is the tragic irony. The very act of trying to secure him is what makes him drift. Because a man does not fall in love with a woman who is trying to secure him. A man falls in love with a woman who is secure in herself. Whether he stays or he goes, a man falls in love with a woman who is not chasing his commitment, but who is walking in her own life with such grace and such fullness that his commitment naturally rises to meet her. Sister, do you hear me? Do you hear how important this is? The woman who is secure in herself does not need to spill everything on date. The woman who is secure in herself is not terrified he will lose interest if she doesn't. The woman who is secure in herself carries her story like a queen carries her jewels. Visible enough that the world knows she has them. Protected enough that not every hand can touch them. Now, let me pause here and say something to you that I want you to write down. I want you to write this down and put it on your mirror. Are you ready? Here it is. You are not too much. You have never been too much. You will never be too much. But you are also not for everyone. And you do not owe your entire soul to a man who has not yet proven he can hold even the first layer of it. Say that with me. You are not too much. You have never been too much. You will never be too much. But you are not for everyone. And you do not owe your entire soul to a man who has not yet proven he can hold even the first layer of it. That right there is the sentence that changes lives. That is the sentence that guards hearts. That is the sentence that turns a woman from a spiller into a well. Now let me talk about the fear underneath all of this, because I know what's really going on in some of you. The fear is this. You are afraid that if you don't tell him everything, snorts, if you don't show him the full depth of your feelings, if you don't hand him your whole story, he will pick some other woman who does. You are afraid that being wise makes you cold, and being cold makes you lonely, and being lonely means you die alone. Sister, listen to me. That fear is a lie. That fear is not from wisdom. That fear is from every heartbreak you have ever experienced whispering to you that you have to hold on tighter next time or you will lose again. But holding on tighter is exactly what makes you lose. Holding on tighter is what smothers the fire. Holding on tighter is what makes a man feel like he is being trapped instead of chosen. The truth, the beautiful truth, is that when you release the fear, when you carry yourself with the calm confidence of a woman who knows her own worth, when you let a man earn each layer of you instead of dumping the whole warehouse on him, you become magnetic. You become the woman he can't stop thinking about. You become the woman he tells his friends about. You become the woman he calls his mother about. You become the woman he cannot let slip through his fingers because he knows deep in his bones that a woman like you does not come along twice. And here's what nobody tells you. That magnetism, that quiet confidence, that measured revelation, it does not push good men away. It calls them closer. The only men it pushes away are the men who were never going to stay anyway. The men who wanted your body without your soul. The men who wanted your attention without your standards. The men who wanted access without accountability. Those men will get frustrated when they cannot access you on their timeline. Those men will disappear. Those men will call you difficult, or too much, or too complicated. And sister, when those men disappear, you should throw a party, because their disappearance is not your loss. Their disappearance is your protection. Their disappearance is God or the universe or your own wisdom filtering out what was never going to bless your life anyway. Now, let me get spicy for a moment because I want to say something that some of the older aunties in the church might not say out loud, but I'm going to say it because I love you. A man who wants you does not go silent on you, for a man who wants you does not need you to convince him of your worth. A man who wants you does not require you to hand him your wounds to prove you're real. A man who wants you moves toward you consistently, clearly, without you having to write him a manifesto explaining why he should. And if the man in front of you needs your ocean to justify staying, sister, he was never really staying. He was just running out the clock. He was just enjoying the buffet. He was just seeing how much he could get before he moved on. And you owe that kind of man nothing. Not your story, not your wounds, not your future plans, not a single tear. Number 1, match his effort. Do not exceed it. If he calls once a day, you call once a day. If he plans one day a week, you match that energy. You do not double it out of anxiety. If he shares one layer of himself, you share one layer of yourself in return. Not 2, not 5. 1, because a wise woman knows that a relationship is a rhythm. And rhythm is destroyed when one partner rushes ahead. Number 2, ask more than you tell. In every early conversation, let him do at least 60% of the revealing. Ask him about his childhood. Ask him about his dreams. Ask him about his past relationships and what he learned from them. Ask him about his relationship with his mother, his father, his siblings. Ask him about the moment he felt most proud, the moment he felt most broken, the moment he felt most alive. Listen more than you speak, because in his answers, he will tell you exactly who he is, and you will learn far more from what he reveals than he ever will from what you reveal. Number 3, save your deepest truths for the moment they are earned. Your first heartbreak, save it. Your family trauma, save it. Your fears about love, save them. Your deepest hopes for the future with him, save them. Not forever, not out of dishonesty, but until he has proven over months that he is a man who can hold sacred things with sacred hands. And when he has proven that, when he has walked with you long enough to earn the right, then and only then, open the treasure chest a little at a time, not all at once, a little at a time. Because even earned intimacy is a staircase, not an elevator. Now, some of you are going to say, Steve, this sounds like games. Baby, it is not games. Games are when you say one thing and mean another. Games are when you pretend not to like him when you do. Games are when you play hard to get out of manipulation. What I am describing is not games. What I am describing is boundaries. What I'm describing is pacing. What I am describing is the natural rhythm of how deep love is built one earned moment at a time. And here's what happens inside his mind when you live by these 3 rules. He becomes fascinated. He becomes engaged. He becomes willing to work. He becomes the man who tells his boys, this one is different. This one is not like the others. This one I might actually marry, because you have given him what most women in their beautiful, well-intentioned rush to be loved forget to give him. You have given him something to earn. You have given him a mystery to solve. You have given him a woman he cannot fully access, which means you have given him a woman he cannot afford to lose. Now, I want to talk about something a little uncomfortable. I want to talk about the woman who has already spilled. The woman who is watching this video thinking, Steve, I already told him everything. I already handed him the ocean. Is it too late for me? Sister, listen to me. It is not too late. It is never too late. But you are going to have to do something that requires courage. You are going to have to become quiet where you were once loud. You are going to have to become mysterious where you were once transparent. You are going to have to close some of the doors you've flung wide open. Not out of dishonesty, but out of the sudden recognition that some things should never have been handed over so quickly. You do this by pulling your energy back. Not disappearing, not being cold, but pulling your energy back to yourself, focusing on your own life, building your own world, making your own plans that do not center him, investing in your friendships, your career, your faith, your body, your dreams. And as you do this, something interesting will happen. He will feel it. He will sense that you are no longer sitting there waiting for him. He will sense that you have found something inside yourself that does not require his validation. And when he feels that, sister, one of 2 things will happen. Either he will step up because he can feel you slipping into your own power and he does not want to lose you, or he will step away because he never wanted a woman with her own power in the first place. He wanted a woman who would center him. Now, let me address something else that I know is on your mind. Some of you are asking, Steve, but doesn't this apply to men too? Shouldn't men also be careful about what they reveal too quickly? Baby, of course, this is not a woman problem. This is a human problem. Anyone who spills the ocean before the ocean is earned is playing themselves. But I am talking to you today, sister, because I know you. I love you. And I know that you especially have been raised in a world that told you your only worth is in how much of yourself you can give away, how quickly and how completely. And I am here to tell you that that message was a lie. Your worth is not in how quickly you give yourself away. Your worth is in how wisely you steward the treasure that is you. Let me tell you about one more woman. Let's call her Maya. Maya was married once before. Married a man she'd spilled everything to on the second date. Married a man who ended up using every single one of her wounds against her during the divorce. Married a man who took the map of her soul and turned it into a weapon of destruction. Maya walked out of that marriage broken but wiser. Maya walked out of that marriage vowing that the next time she opened her heart, she would open it slowly. Not because she had become bitter, but because she had become wise. 3 years after her divorce, Maya met a man at a coffee shop. Kind eyes, gentle spirit, slow smiles. He asked for her number. She gave it to him. And what followed was a slow, deliberate, beautiful courtship. Maya let him see her light. She let him see her humor. She let him see her intelligence. But she did not open the treasure chest of her deepest wounds. Not on date 1, not on date 10, not on date 20. She waited. She watched. She listened. She observed. She let him prove himself month after month in small ways and big ways. 6 months in, she let him see one wound. One. She told him about her divorce, but not the details, just the outline. And she watched how he held it. He held it with reverence. He did not press for more. He did not use it against her. He did not try to fix her. He simply says, "Thank you for trusting me with that. I know it wasn't easy." And in that moment, Maya knew this man was different. This man knew how to hold sacred things. Another 6 months later, she let him see a little more and a little more and a little more, until 2 years in, he knew almost all of her story. But by then, he had earned it. By then, he had proven in 1,000 small moments that her story was safe with him. By then, he was not just her boyfriend. He was her partner. He was her friend. He was the man who was going to spend the rest of his life protecting the very wounds she had once handed to a man who used them as weapons. Maya. And that man got married last spring. And Maya told me, sitting across from me at the reception, "Steve, I did it differently this time." And it worked. It really worked. Not because I played games, not because I was manipulative, but because I finally understood that my story was holy, and holy things are not handed to strangers. Sister, that is the lesson. That is the truth. That is the wisdom I want you to carry with you long after this video ends. Your story is holy, your feelings are holy, your wounds are holy, your hopes are holy. And holy things are not handed to strangers. Holy things are revealed slowly, deliberately, to those who have proven they can hold them with sacred hands. Now, let me spend some time talking about something practical, because I don't want you leaving here just inspired. I want you leaving here equipped. I want you to know exactly what to say and what not to say in real situations you are going to face this week. When a man asks you on an early date, "So, what happened with your last relationship?" you do not owe him the full story. You can say, "It ran its course, and I learned a lot about what I want and what I don't want." What about you? What did your last relationship teach you? You gave him a warm, honest, non-revealing answer, and you flipped the question back to him. So now he is doing the revealing. When a man asks you on an early date, "What are you looking for?" you do not have to say, "I want to get married and have 3 kids, and I've been praying for a man just like you." You can say, "I'm looking for something real, something that grows slowly, something built on friendship, trust, and mutual respect." What about you? What are you looking for? Again, you gave him a beautiful answer that revealed your standards without revealing your desperation, and you flipped it back to him. When a man asks you on an early date, "So tell me your biggest fear," you do not have to say, "I'm terrified of being abandoned again because my father left when I was 7 and every man since has walked out." You can say, "That's a big question. I want to know you a little better before I go there." What about you? What's something you don't tell people often? You have set a boundary with grace. You have told him that some rooms in your house require invitation earned, and you have invited him to reveal himself first. Do you see the pattern, sister? At every turn, you are warm. You are honest. You are engaged. But you are not spilling the ocean. You are showing him the well and letting him wonder how deep it goes. And every time he leaves your presence, he leaves wanting more of you, not less. Because you have not exhausted him with your revelation. You have intrigued him with your reserve. And here is the beautiful thing about this approach. It filters. It filters like nothing else. Because a man who is not really about you will get impatient with this pacing. He will push. He will pressure. He will try to accelerate. He will make you feel guilty for not sharing more. He will accuse you of being cold or closed off or playing games. And when he does, sister, you have your answer. You have your data. You have the information you need to know. He is not the one. But a man who is really about you will lean in. He will respect the pacing. He will show up consistently. He will earn each layer patiently. He will show you through his actions that he understands your worth is not something to be brushed. And when a man does that, sister, when a man honors your pace, when a man treats your revelation like a privilege instead of an entitlement, you have found something rare. You have found a man worth your time. Now hear me on this final point because I want to bring this home for you. This is not just about the two things you never tell a man. This is about how you carry yourself through the whole dance of love. This is about becoming the kind of woman who does not need to prove herself to a man in order to be chosen by him. This is about becoming the kind of woman whose presence is enough, whose energy is enough, whose calm confidence is enough. You do not have to prove your love by dumping your ocean. You do not have to prove your worth by handing him your wounds. You do not have to prove your commitment by locking down every future promise before he has even earned the first month of your affection. Your pre-presence is the proof. Your peace is the proof. Your joy is the proof. Your calm, measured, beautiful engagement with the man in front of you. That is all the proof any real man will ever need. And if a man cannot see it in your presence, sister, no amount of spilling will make him see it. If a man cannot feel it in your energy, no amount of storytelling will make him feel it. If a man cannot recognize the treasure standing in front of him without you having to unpack every drawer of your soul for him, then that man does not have the eyes to see you. And you do not need to educate a blind man about the color of your dress. You need to walk on, sister. Walk on with grace. Walk on with dignity. Walk on with the knowledge that the man who can see you will come. And when he comes, he will not need you to prove yourself. He will already know. Now, let me speak to the woman who has been in a long marriage or a long relationship and is thinking, Steve, is it too late for me? No, sister, it is not too late. Even in a long relationship, you can begin to pull your energy back to yourself. You can begin to reveal less and require more. You can begin to speak less and observe more. You can begin to invest in your own world so completely that your husband or your partner begins to notice you again, begins to pursue you again, begins to see the treasure he has been taking for granted. And if he does not, if he cannot, then at least you will have found yourself again. You will have returned to the woman you were meant to be before the years of spilling wore you thin. Because sister, at the end of the day, this whole lesson is not really about him. It is about you. It is about how you value yourself. It is about how you steward the treasure that is you. It is about how you refuse to let the world or any man in it teach you that your worth is measured by how quickly and completely you give yourself away. Your worth is not measured that way. Your worth is measured by how wisely you love yourself first and foremost. And when you love yourself wisely, everything else, the men you attract, the relationships you build, the peace you carry, the joy you radiate, all of it flows from that one sacred, unshakable foundation. Let me say something now that I want to sit with you for the rest of your life. You are not asking for too much when you ask a man to earn you. You are not asking for too much when you require him to prove himself. You are not asking for too much when you protect your story until he has demonstrated he can hold it. You are not asking for too much. You have never asked for too much. And any man who tells you otherwise is not a man who deserves you. You are enough. Just as you are at this moment sitting there watching this video, you are enough. You do not have to earn your enoughness. You do not have to prove your enoughness. Your enoughness is already there, sewn into the very fabric of who you are, breathed into you by the God who made you. And your job, sister, is not to convince anyone else of your enoughness. Your job is simply to walk in it, to live in it, to carry it like the crown it is. So the next time you find yourself sitting across from a man, wondering if you should tell him everything, wondering if you should hand him your ocean, wondering if this is the moment to prove how much you feel, I want you to pause. I want you to breathe. I want you to remember this conversation, and I want you to ask yourself one question. Has he earned this yet? Not do I want to tell him? Not do I feel it deeply? Not am I afraid he will drift if I don't. But has he earned this yet? And if the answer is no, sister, then hold it. Not out of coldness, not out of manipulation. Out of respect for the treasure that you are. Out of respect for the sacred thing your story is. Out of respect for the queen you have become. You are a queen, and it is time you started carrying yourself like one. Now hear me as I bring this home. I want you to leave this video with a decision. not a wish, a decision. I want you to decide right now in this moment that you are done spilling. Done handing your ocean to men who have not earned a single wave. Done handing your wounds to strangers dressed up as suitors. Done trying to prove your worth by giving away pieces of yourself faster than they can be honored. I want you to decide that from this day forward, you are the deep well. You are the woman he wonders about. You are the woman he leans toward. You are the woman he earns layer by earn layer, moment by I earn, moment truth by earn truth. And in doing so, you become the woman who finally gets the love she deserves, the love she was made for, the love that was always waiting for her just on the other side of her wisdom. You are not too much. You have never been too much. You will never be too much. You are not too deep. You are not too emotional. You are not asking for too much. When you ask a man to earn you, you are exactly enough. You have always been enough. You will always be enough. And the man who is meant for you will see it. He will see it in your calm. He will see it in your paces. He will see it in the way you hold your story like the sacred thing it is. And he will not run from your wisdom. He will run toward it because he will know deep in his soul that a woman who guards herself this well is a woman worth spending a lifetime trying to be worthy of. So go, sister. Go carry yourself like the queen you are. Go pace your revelation. Go hold your ocean until he has proven he knows how to swim. Go be the deep well, the mystery, the treasure that must be earned. And watch what happens. Watch the right men rise up to meet you. Watch the wrong men filter themselves out. Watch your life become the beautiful, peaceful, powerful thing it was always meant to be. If this hit your spirit today, if any part of this made you feel seen, made you feel wiser, made you feel like you finally understood something you have been struggling with for years, drop a heart in the comments and let another woman hear this too. Because sometimes, sister, the best thing we can do for our sisters is turn to them, look them in the eye, and say, here, this is for you. This is the truth. I wish someone had told me sooner.